Alright guys, it's time to look at the weather pattern across Europe over the next few weeks, looking at the end of July into early August. So we're starting off with the European model, looking at the 500 millibar height anomalies, showing where we have upper level ridges and troughs. Anywhere in orange is upper level ridges, and everywhere in blue is upper level troughs. And then every one of these lines is called an isohypsy, or a line of equal geopotential height. And anything over a 591 dm shows you where you have a pretty strong upper level ridge in place that will produce extreme heat. And right now at the moment on July 24th, we have that 591 isohypsy right there. It encompasses much of southwestern Europe and into North Africa, where in western North Africa, we actually have a 600 dm line, which is extremely rare to see one of those. That's where you have extremely hot temperatures occurring, which has been the case now across portions of Algeria and Morocco the past few weeks. So looking at the height pattern across Europe starting today on July 24th, we have a trough over Eastern Europe that has brought to an end to that heat wave across the Balkans and much of Southern and Southeastern Europe. And we have a ridge across much of Western Europe at the moment that has started to bring some extreme heat to portions of Spain and inland Portugal. And then just going out over the next few days, it's a pretty progressive pattern with these highs and low pressure systems, but going out over the next few days, we have a breakdown of that ridge across the west. Nothing too crazy. Lots of troughing still across northwestern Europe. That's basically been the pattern now for a couple months now, bringing very cool temperatures to portions of northern Europe. But as we get to the tail end of the month, the European model is showing another pretty strong ridge developing once again across the Balkan region. Could bring a few more days of some pretty extremely hot temperatures. Not looking as hot as what we just saw a few weeks ago or for these past few weeks, but certainly bringing more above normal temperatures to the Balkan region, and for that matter to much of the Mediterranean. Also, we could get a little bit of a ridge across portions of France and into the UK, something that hasn't happened much this summer. So we could get a couple days of some above normal temperatures in there. As we get into July 27th, 28th, and 29th. Going into next week, with the Paris Olympics going on, we could have a couple hot days here and there. A pretty progressive pattern, like I said, leading to more of a roller coaster type temperature pattern for Paris, meaning a few days of hot weather, followed by a few days of cool weather, and then so on and so forth. But in general, towards the tail end of July, we do finally have some ridging across portions of northwestern Europe for several days, bringing some more seasonable temperatures to slightly above normal temperatures there. And as we get into very early August, like I said, that ridge across the Balkans doesn't last long. It breaks down, the model is saying, by early August. And overall, like I said, nothing too extreme across Europe over the next few weeks. Just the slight chance of another intense heat wave across the Balkans, maybe portions of Italy, and like I said, across Spain, where that region continues, so that heat wave there could last quite a bit longer. And then across northern Europe, not a whole lot of extreme ridging or troughing, just so bringing more seasonable temperatures there, and actually probably more so on the below average side once you get over toward the Nordic countries. It's been a very cool summer across northern Europe. With that, I mean like no extreme heat occurring across much of northern Europe this summer. And that should be the case over the next couple of weeks. Maybe could see a couple of hot days in France next week. But outside of that, nothing too extreme across northern Europe. And then so next I want to look at the temperature anomalies. We're starting off today on July 24th. Notice how much of the continent is actually below average in temperature. That's this blue color you see across much of the continent. The only extreme heat occurring or extremely anomalous temperatures is this area, like I said, across Spain and Portugal that's dealing with some extreme heat at the moment. And then going across the next few days, we don't nothing like too extreme, like I've been saying. So notice how we actually have some below average temperatures the next few days across the Balkans and also across northwestern Europe. The bulk of the warmth stays across the Mediterranean area from Portugal and Spain over towards Italy. That's where the bulk of the extreme heat should occur over the next few days, but nothing too extreme across portions of Italy until we get to around the tail end of the month. That's if we start to get some more deeper red colors across Central Europe from Italy over towards the Balkans and into Poland for a couple days. And still, but to the west of that, portions of France and Germany and into the Benelux region, and even to the north of that, into the Nordics. Pretty cool into the tail end of July. And but then, like I said, going into next week and into the tail end of the month and into a very early August, that's when we could get some above normal temperatures occurring across Western Europe, into France, portions of the UK. And I'll show you the actual temperatures in a moment after this. And then just going all the way out to the tail end of the cycle, which only goes out about 10 days. So this is like early August. And just see, like I've been saying, nothing too extreme. Just slightly above normal temperatures across much of the continent by early August. But more of the same across portions of the UK where it's been below average. And that should continue again into early August, where we have the bluish colors once again showing up there. Otherwise, nothing too extreme. Just some slightly more above normal temperatures possible across the Balkans. I'm not expecting a major heat wave there again. And then so looking at the actual max temperature forecast, starting off with today, notice how much of the continent is very comfortable, mostly between 20 and 27 degrees Celsius, or mostly between like 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But outside of that, the only area of extreme heat at the moment is, like I've been saying, across Spain and Portugal, where basically from Madrid southward, it's been reaching over 40 degrees Celsius or over 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And then just going out over the next few days, more of the same all the way into this weekend. Could get a little bit of a warm up across portions of Italy, reaching around over 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. But then going into the Sunday, Monday time frame, July 28th into the 29th, we do start to get some more warmth across the Balkans. Not as hot as we've seen. This time only getting up to like around 35 Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. But it goes a little bit further north. Could get a hot day there in Poland, reaching 35 degrees Celsius by Sunday on July 28th. But it only lasts one day. Cold front comes in, quickly knocks the temperature down, while also heating up the area to the east in that southerly flow across portions of Ukraine. But like I said, Spain and Portugal still hot going into early next week, but it expands a little bit northward and eastward, reaching portions of southern France, reaching up into the 35 to 38 range, or close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And even across portions of Italy, could get temperatures approaching 40, maybe not quite, but almost, or in the 37 to 39 range, or in like the 98 to 102 degree Fahrenheit range. For example, Rome forecasted to reach 39 there on Monday, July 29th. And then going into early next week, much of Northern Europe stays relatively cool. Here we go, going into middle next week, early to middle of next week. Could get a hot day there across portions of northern France. We're getting up to like 33 degrees Celsius or about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Doesn't last long, quickly knocks temperatures back down into the 20s behind the cold front. And just going out the end of the cycle, basically the hottest temperatures stay across the Mediterranean region. Not as hot as we saw, temperatures only reaching between 35 and 39 degrees Celsius. But the most extreme heat should occur still across southern portions of Portugal and Spain. The heat wave there is quite intense, and with the way the pressure pattern is looking, it could last at least another week or more, a week or more longer. So a very long stretch of extremely hot temperatures there for portions of southern Spain and Portugal. But outside of that, notice temperatures stay in the 20s across basically all of northern Europe throughout the most of this forecast cycle out into early August. Temperatures staying relatively cool and comfortable, like we've been seeing pretty much this whole summer so far. Lots of troughing, not too much ridging across northern Europe. And then looking at the rainfall amounts over the next 10 days, I'm not seeing anything too extreme that will cause any flooding problems. It's basically in the 25 to 75 millimeter range, or about 1 to 3 inches of rainfall over the next 10 days. And it looks like a typical summer pattern where the northern half of Europe is wet and the Mediterranean region is more dry. And so to basically sum up everything I just said, it's a very progressive pattern over Europe over the next few weeks, which means high and low pressure systems will be moving swiftly west to east, which means no blocking pattern setting up, no multiple days of extreme heat or extreme cool conditions or flooding, stuff like that. And so basically, Northern Europe should stay quite seasonable, like we've been seeing the past few weeks or a few months now across this whole summer. Near normal temperatures and near normal rainfall. And then across Southern Europe, it should stay a little bit below average in rainfall, which is fairly typical for this time of year. And also, temperature should stay above average in this area, not as extreme as we just saw in the Balkan region. And the core of the extreme heat should stay across portions of Spain and Portugal over the next 2 weeks. Maybe sneaking into portions of southern France and Italy into next week. Otherwise, that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.